You're listening to part 1 of this audiobook. Enjoy the story? Part 2 and the rest of the story are available on Patreon. Go to Patreon and search for my page to continue listening. Now, let's begin part 1. Chapter 1 Golden Finger. Poseidon Island. A lonely island stands in the depths of the ocean. The island is prosperous and does not look like an isolated island at all. In the center of the island, magnificent buildings come into view. This is the Academy on Poseidon Island, called Blue Ocean Academy. It is an advanced Soul Master Academy founded by the High Priest Bo Saixi himself. People inside, no matter how old they are or how much soul power they have, can join Blue Ocean Academy and become a member of the Academy. Class 8, Year 3, Advanced Soul Master Class. A group of children about 18 years old were discussing the direction of spiritual master training. Some sat on chairs and began to practice, while others were talking and laughing without paying any attention to the practice. There was only one person who was different. In the noisy classroom, he was still sleeping soundly, without taking the others seriously at all. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully crossing the Douluo continent. Ding! Reward one of the host weapon soul master's subordinates, Li Bai. The man slowly raised his head and rubbed his blue pupils. Where am I? I don't know if it was because I slept for too long or something, but my vision was a little blurry, but I recovered quickly. Looking at the students wearing blue clothes all around, Lin Xiao scratched his head in confusion. He was not at home applying king pesticide, so why did he appear here? The clothes were also of different styles. Wearing such thick clothes on such a hot day, won't you sweat? Before he could take a closer look at his surroundings, his mind exploded like a bolt from the blue. The severe pain caused him to fall into coma while standing, and the memories played out crazily in his mind like a movie. Douluo Continent, Poseidon Island, Senior Soul Master Student of Blue Ocean Academy, 19 years old, Martial Soul Shura Divine Sword. Douluo Continent? Nanny. Lin Xiao was shocked. He was just playing a game. How could he end up having a time travel drama? Just saying this would make people laugh to death. He knew everything here based on his memory. When Lin Xiao was 6 years old, he came to Poseidon Island and became a member of Poseidon Island. The person who sent him down was none other than the God King of the God Realm, God Shura. Looking at his hands, Lin Xiao finally knew why he had a God-level martial spirit, and what was different about it. He possesses twin martial souls that others cannot possess, and the other one is a sphere. Before Lin Xiao could study the effect of the ball carefully, a loud noise came from the center of the college, and suddenly, a dazzling fire splashed out. What's wrong? Lin Xiao walked out of the classroom with doubts. The other students also walked out one after another, and when they saw the two people in the venue, they also took a breath of cold air. Isn't this the boss of my class? A man next to Lin Xiao exclaimed, because the black charcoal man who fell to the ground was the strongest in their class. According to memory, this person's name is Camille, and he is a level 38 attack type fighting spirit. This person has a bold and generous nature, and everyone likes to be friends with him. Normally, he would explain some unclear questions to everyone carefully. Even Lin Xiao would often speak for him. The other one is the overlord of other classes. A 40-level attack-type fighting spirit sect, who is quite powerful. Humph, Camille, stay away from her in the future, otherwise don't blame me for killing you. Camille vomited blood, her vision went dark, and she fainted. Chi Song Tao snorted coldly, and just as he was about to leave, a cold voice sounded behind him. You want to just walk away after beating someone? Do you have my permission? Chi Song Tao turned his head, and when he saw Lin Xiao, he burst out laughing, ha ha ha, who do I think I am? It turns out to be Camille's good-for-nothing classmate. It is rumored that you are just a loser who doesn't even have a martial spirit. How dare you talk to me like that today? Boy, Grandpa will give you a chance. Kneel down and kowtow a few times, and Grandpa will let you go. Lin Xiao raised the corners of his mouth slightly, just in time to try his second martial spirit with Chi Song Tao. In fact, he was relatively low-key when he came. Except for Poseidon, the god of the sea, no one knew his identity or his strength. Over the years, I have never seen anyone with a martial spirit. This is why others think that Lin Xiao is a loser who doesn't even have a martial spirit. Lin Xiao raised his right hand high above his head. At this moment, the sky changed color and the entire Blue Ocean Academy trembled violently. In an instant, Lightning bolts as thick as a bucket struck on the ground. A position 3 meters away from Lin Xiao. Almost instantly, a man in his 20s appeared in front of Lin Xiao. This man was wearing a white robe, holding a sword in his right hand, and a gourd-like wine pot in his left hand. He was dressed in such a heroic manner that even Lin Xiao was a little surprised. The others were immediately startled. Why did a person suddenly appear? In the other direction, a woman stood in the void. The woman seemed to be about 1.8 meters tall, and her whole body was covered in a bright red robe. Her long sea blue hair was spread behind her back, slowly fluttering in the air as the breeze blew. Her soft face looks like she is about 30 years old at most. Her beauty comes more from her temperament, which is noble and elegant. In the palm of her right hand, she held a 3-meter-long scepter. The scepter was golden and had strange patterns carved all over its body, as if it were a devil. The head of the staff is a diamond-shaped protrusion like a spear. 5 inches below the tip of the spear, there is a diamond-shaped golden gem inlaid. Extraordinarily gorgeous and dazzling. This person is none other than the High Priest of Poseidon Island, Bo Saixi, founder of Blue Ocean Academy. After she felt the aura of fighting, she rushed over as soon as possible. Although she had no intention of taking action, it deeply aroused her curiosity. When he saw the man in white in front of Lin Xiao, he also looked surprised. Do martial souls also have hosts? Generally speaking, a soul master possesses a weapon soul master and a beast martial soul. Basically, the beast martial soul forms a natal soul beast to fight against foreign enemies. The weapon soul master is a soul master who injects soul power into the body and can integrate the weapon soul into the beast soul. In millions of years, there has never been a soul master. Qi Songtao's expression changed. How is it possible that this is your martial spirit? The rumors say that you don't have a martial spirit. Lin Xiao sneered and looked at Qi Songtao with disdain. Withered bones and shoe, what do you know? This is called keeping a low profile. Li Bai, teach him a lesson. It's the master. At this moment, everyone was shocked, even Bo Saixi was shocked. The martial spirit has spoken. Is this still a martial spirit? Before anyone could react, Li Bai disappeared from the spot almost instantly. When everyone saw it, Li Bai had appeared behind Qi Songtao, and he had already waved the long sword in his right hand. The terrifying air wave destroyed all the flowers and plants in the entire venue. Enjoying Part 1 so far? This is only the beginning. Part 2 and the rest of the story are available on Patreon. Go to Patreon and search for my page to continue the story. Now, let's continue. Chapter 2 The Peerless Beauty Bo Saixi. Poseidon Island. A lonely island stands in the depths of the ocean. The island is prosperous and does not look like an isolated island at all. In the center of the island, magnificent buildings come into view. This is the academy on Poseidon Island, called Blue Ocean Academy. It is an advanced soul master academy founded by the High Priest Bo Saixi himself. People inside, no matter how old they are or how much soul power they have, can join Blue Ocean Academy and become a member of the academy. Class 8, Year 3, Advanced Soul Master Class. A group of children about 18 years old were discussing the direction of spiritual master training. Some sat on chairs and began to practice, while others were talking and laughing without paying any attention to the practice. There was only one person who was different. In the noisy classroom, he was still sleeping soundly, without taking the others seriously at all. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully crossing the Douluo continent. Ding! Reward one of the host weapon soul master's subordinates, Li Bai. The man slowly raised his head and rubbed his blue pupils. Where am I? I don't know if it was because I slept for too long or something, but my vision was a little blurry, but I recovered quickly. Looking at the students wearing blue clothes all around, Lin Xiao scratched his head in confusion. He was not at home applying king pesticide, so why did he appear here? The clothes were also of different styles. Wearing such thick clothes on such a hot day, won't you sweat? Before he could take a closer look at his surroundings, his mind exploded like a bolt from the blue. The severe pain caused him to fall into coma while standing, and the memories played out crazily in his mind like a movie. Douluo Continent, Poseidon Island, Senior Soul Master Student of Blue Ocean Academy, 19 years old, Martial Soul Shura Divine Sword. Douluo Continent? Nanny. Lin Xiao was shocked. He was just playing a game. How could he end up having a time travel drama? Just saying this would make people laugh to death. He knew everything here based on his memory. When Lin Xiao was 6 years old, he came to Poseidon Island and became a member of Poseidon Island. The person who sent him down was none other than the God King of the God Realm, God Shura. Looking at his hands, Lin Xiao finally knew why he had a God-level martial spirit, and what was different about it. He possesses twin martial spirits that others cannot possess, and the other one is a sphere. Before Lin Xiao could study the effect of the ball carefully, a loud noise came from the center of the college, and suddenly, a dazzling fire splashed out. What's wrong? Lin Xiao walked out of the classroom with doubts. The other students also walked out one after another, and when they saw the two people in the venue, they also took a breath of cold air. Isn't this the boss of my class? A man next to Lin Xiao exclaimed, because the black charcoal man who fell to the ground was the strongest in their class. According to memory, this person's name is Camel, and he is a level 38 attack-type fighting spirit. This person has a bold and generous nature, and everyone likes to be friends with him. I usually explain some unclear questions to everyone carefully. Even Lin Xiao I will often speak for him. The other one is the overlord of other classes. The 40-level attack-type War Soul sect, who is quite powerful. Humph, Camille, stay away from her in the future, otherwise don't blame me for killing you. Camille vomited blood, her vision went dark, and she fainted. Chi Song Tao snorted coldly, and just as he was about to leave, a cold voice sounded behind him. You want to just walk away after beating someone? Do you have my permission? Chi Song Tao turned his head, and when he saw Lin Xiao, he burst into laughter. Ha ha ha, who do I think I am? It turns out to be Camille's good-for-nothing classmate. It is rumored that you are just a loser who doesn't even have a martial spirit. How dare you talk to me like that today? Boy, Grandpa will give you a chance. Kneel down and kowtow a few times, and Grandpa will let you go. Lin Xiao raised the corners of his mouth slightly, just in time to try his second martial spirit with Chi Song Tao. In fact, he was relatively low-key when he came. Except for Poseidon, the god of the sea, no one knew his identity or his strength. Over the years, I have never seen anyone with a martial spirit. This is why others think that Lin Xiao is a loser who doesn't even have a martial spirit. Lin Xiao raised his right hand high above his head. At this moment, the sky changed color and the entire Blue Ocean Academy trembled violently. In an instant, lightning bolts as thick as a bucket struck 3 meters around Lin Xiao. Almost instantly, a man in his 20s appeared in front of Lin Xiao. This man was wearing a white robe, holding a sword in his right hand, and a gourd-like wine pot in his left hand. He was dressed in such a heroic manner that even Lin Xiao was a little surprised. The others were immediately startled. Why did a person suddenly appear? In the other direction, a woman stood in the void. The woman seemed to be about 1.8 meters tall, and her whole body was covered in a bright red robe. Her long sea blue hair was spread behind her back, slowly fluttering in the air as the breeze blew. Her soft face looks like she is about 30 years old at most. Her beauty comes more from her temperament, which is noble and elegant. In the palm of her right hand, she held a 3-meter-long scepter. The scepter was golden and had strange patterns carved all over its body, as if it were a devil. The head of the staff is a diamond-shaped protrusion like a spear. 5 inches below the tip of the spear, there is a diamond-shaped golden gem inlaid. Extraordinarily gorgeous and dazzling. This person is none other than the High Priest of Poseidon Island, Bo Saixi, founder of Blue Ocean Academy. After she felt the aura of fighting, she rushed over as soon as possible. Although she had no intention of taking action, it deeply aroused her curiosity. When he saw the man in white in front of Lin Xiao, he also looked surprised. Do martial souls also have bodies that are born from them? Generally speaking, a soul master possesses a weapon soul master and a beast martial soul. Basically, the beast martial soul forms a natal soul beast to fight against foreign enemies. The weapon soul master is a soul master who injects soul power into the body and can integrate the weapon soul into the beast soul. In millions of years, there has never been a soul master. Chi Song Tao's expression changed. How is it possible that this is your martial spirit? The rumors say that you don't have a martial spirit. Lin Xiao sneered and looked at Chi Song Tao with disdain. Withered bones and Sichuan, what do you know? This is called keeping a low profile. Li Bai, teach him a lesson. It's the master. At this moment, everyone was shocked, even Bo Saixi was shocked. The martial soul has spoken. Is this still a martial soul? Before anyone could react, Li Bai disappeared from the spot almost instantly. When everyone saw it, Li Bai had appeared behind Qi Songtao, and the long sword in his right hand had already been waved out. The terrifying air wave destroyed all the flowers and plants in the entire venue. Chapter 3 All the Moves. With a loud bang, a figure flew out of the fire. It was Qi Songtao. At this time, Qi Songtao's clothes were burned off, and even his hair was turned into coke. It looked like he had eaten 10 times more than Camille. Just when Li Bai was about to take action again, a voice with a sacred aura suddenly sounded. Enough! I saw a dazzling golden light in the sky suddenly condensed here, and Bo Saixi slowly fell from the light pillar. When the others saw this, they hurriedly knelt on the ground and said, "Greetings to the great enshrinement." Lin Xiao froze in place, looking at the exquisite girl. His heart couldn't help but speed up a bit. This was the first time he had seen such a beautiful girl, the first time in his life. After everyone knelt on the ground, Lin Xiao had not yet woken up from the shock. It wasn't until a teacher shouted that he woke up Lin Xiao. "Lin Xiao, don't you want to live without paying homage to the master?" Ah! When Lin Xiao reacted, Bo Saixi had already appeared in front of him. The fragrance of roses spread from Bo Saixi's body, and Lin Xiao couldn't help but take a breath of air. This feeling was so comfortable. Bo Saixi's momentum made even Lin Xiao feel a little out of breath. This was the pressure brought by his level. "What's your name?" Just 4 words made other people's hearts explode. The high priest usually rarely spoke, let alone discussed with a bunch of ants like them. Today I actually asked an unknown boy his name. "Lin Xiao." Bo Saixi nodded. "Lin Xiao, I remember you, practice well." Although Bo Saixi's voice was a little cold, Lin Xiao didn't care. "Fairy sister." Bo Saixi, who was about to leave, paused and turned his head. "What did you call me?" "Of course it's fairy sister. You are so beautiful and so powerful." Bo Saixi narrowed his eyes, paused, smiled slightly, turned around and disappeared. Without Bo Saixi's pressure, others stood up one after another and wiped the cold sweat from their heads. Some even looked at Lin Xiao like a monster. Under the pressure of the high priest, nothing happened. Is he still a human being? Lin Xiao patted Li Bai on the shoulder. "Go back." "Yes." After taking back Li Bai, Lin Xiao whistled and ran outside the academy. Since he came to this world, he must complete the look of a time traveler. Otherwise, thousands of male compatriots will definitely tear themselves into pieces. After leaving the academy, Lin Xiao came to the back mountain of Poseidon Island based on his memory. The back mountain is not a towering tree, but a forest of attractive pink peach blossoms. There are about hundreds of peach blossoms in the whole forest, all of which were planted by the high priest Bo Saixi himself. Most people rarely come here. First, it's because of Bo Saixi's punishment, and second, there are restrictions here. Lin Xiao looked at the blue smoke in front of him. This was the poison set by Bo Saixi himself. It was impossible for ordinary people to enter. But who is Lin Xiao? He is the grandson of God Shura. He has some divine power from God Shura, and it is difficult for ordinary poisons to corrode his body. After walking in, Lin Xiao was stunned by the scene in front of him. The peach grove has been divided, and in the middle is a road paved with fine blue stones. At the end is a pavilion. Next to the pavilion is a stream, in which red koi carps are playing in the water. In the pavilion, a woman sat inside, looking at the pond below her, her eyes dull and she didn't know what she was thinking. When Lin Xiao stepped on a branch, Bo Saixi turned his head sharply and frowned when he saw Lin Xiao. "How did you get in?" Bo Saixi slowly raised his right hand, and Lin Xiao's body flew over as if it was caught by something. "Sister Fairy, I'm just here to hang out." Bo Saixi sneered and threw Lin Xiao to the ground. "Do you think I will believe it? Lin Xiao, you are very strange and I can't see through it. To be able to pass through the poison barrier I set up, you need to reach level 95. The above titles are Douluo, but you are only the sole emperor." Over the past 18 years, Lin Xiao relied on his own perseverance to become a powerful sole emperor without the help of God Shura. He is also the first person in history. "Hehe, I don't know, it doesn't seem to be of any use to me." Bo Saixi frowned, but recovered quickly. This little guy had a good impression on her and she didn't embarrass him. "If nothing happens, just go back." Bo Saixi's voice was without any emotion. She turned her head and continued to look at the fish in the pond. Of course, Lin Xiao would not leave just like that. He turned around and sat on the chair, which surprised Bo Saixi. Even the titled Douluo left after her words. This little guy didn't listen to her? Sister, drink tea. Lin Xiao picked up the teacup on the table and handed it over. Bo Saixi glanced at Lin Xiao, picked up the teacup, and drank in one gulp. If you have anything to do, just tell me. I have nothing to do, I just want to be with you. Bo Saixi sneered, haha, kid, I advise you not to take this idea. Lin Xiao disagreed, what's the matter? You live your life, I like mine, let's not waste any time. Without looking at Lin Xiao, Bo Saixi picked up the fish food on the table and threw it into the water. After looking at the fish frantically snatching the food, Bo Saixi sighed. Waved again, and the fish food in the water disappeared quietly. Lin Xiao saw all this and could feel that the fish were robbing the fish of food. What did this mean? After a long time, Bo Saixi stood up slowly, turned around and ran out of the forest. Lin Xiao hurriedly followed, sister, wait for me. Bo Saixi didn't look back and only left one sentence. If you can catch me within 1 day, I will give you a chance to stay. Otherwise, you should leave Poseidon Island. Then, Bo Saixi turned into the wind and disappeared. Damn it, how can I chase you? Lin Xiao couldn't help but stamp his feet and cursed, I don't know where I'm going, how can I chase him? By the way, I still have a system. System Dad, you're out for work. Help me find out what Bo Saixi likes to eat, what he does, and where he is. Ding, everything about Bo Saixi is being detected, please wait. The sun sets over the West Mountain. In the Poseidon Hall. Bo Saixi was sitting at the side, and in the middle was an old man wearing a blue robe. The old man looked about 70 or 80 years old, but he could still feel that he exuded a terrifying aura. Even more terrifying than the 99th level peerless Douluo Bo Saixi. It was an incomparable feeling that left people in awe both physically and mentally. This person is none other than the sea god, Poseidon. After hearing what Bo Saixi said, he stroked his mustache and laughed. If others don't know, he doesn't know yet, he's just helping to keep it a secret. Bo Saixi, please leave this kid alone. He can do whatever he wants. If something goes wrong, please help him solve it. Chapter 4 The Strong God King. Under the guidance of the system, Lin Xiao followed the NPC route to a magnificent palace. The palace is located at the highest point of Poseidon Island. There are more than a dozen towering pillars beside the entire building, and dragon and phoenix patterns are carved on each pillar. Look around, the dragons and phoenixes on the stone pillars seem to come alive, hovering in the stone pillars, lifelike. There is a plaque above the main hall, and the plaque clearly reads 3 characters, Poseidon Temple. This is it. In the main hall. Ah! Bo Saixi looked at Lord Poseidon in surprise, she didn't believe her ears. Xiao Xi, you are over 100 years old, and it's time to talk about marriage. What do you think of this kid Lin Xiao? Bo Saixi stood up from the chair, Lord Poseidon, are you right, you want me to marry a little guy? Poseidon chuckled, and at the moment he was about to say something, the Poseidon Hall was pushed away with brute force. Lin Xiao was stunned when he walked in. When he saw this scene, he couldn't help but stop. In addition to the stone pillars just now, there are 2 groups of soul masters arranged in an orderly manner. Each soul master is wearing blue armor, holding a halberd in his hand, and his eyes are full of coldness. Several old men sitting on the chairs stood up at the same time, staring angrily at the kid who broke in without permission. Presumptuous! Seahorse Douluo shouted angrily, boy, who are you? How dare you break into Poseidon Temple? Bo Saixi was stunned. Isn't this Lin Xiao? How did he find this place? Poseidon, who was sitting on the chair, smiled and said, okay, Seahorse, please step back. Seahorse Douluo turned his head and looked at Lord Poseidon with a puzzled expression. However, he had no choice but to listen to Lord Poseidon's orders, so he had no choice but to leave Poseidon Temple. Seeing this, the others also left one after another, leaving only Bo Saixi alone. Lin Xiao, what are you doing here? Bo Saixi hurriedly shouted, apart from the guards, only titled Douluo can enter the Poseidon Temple, and all other trespassers will die. Lin Xiao was a genius. It would be a pity if he died so easily. Sister, if you don't say that I can catch you, then you can stay. I'm here. Poseidon's expression changed. Just as he was about to say something, Poseidon, the god of the sea, smiled and said, not bad, good, good. It's good to find this place, little friend. Without even thinking about it, Lin Xiao bowed his hands and said, Junior Lin Xiao, pay your respects to Lord Poseidon. Poseidon did not feel surprised. The descendants of god Shura are naturally very sensitive to breath. There are not many people who can feel their own breath and judge their identity. You don't have to be polite, little friend. I heard that your martial spirit was born from a body. Yes. Poseidon narrowed his eyes. Could it be a mutated martial spirit? Lord Poseidon, I will take him and leave now. Bo Saixi hurriedly came to Lin Xiao's side, grabbed his right hand, and wanted to leave. Poseidon, the god of the sea, did not speak, but smiled meaningfully. It was as if everything was known to him. After leaving Poseidon Temple, Bo Saixi took Lin Xiao to an open space and threw him on the ground. Are you crazy? Do you know the consequences of breaking into Poseidon Temple without permission? Lin Xiao said, I don't know, I only know the task my sister gave me. You. Bo Saixi was furious, a little confused as to what this little guy wanted to do. Lin Xiao took out a small box from the soul guide. When he opened it, Bo Saixi's pupil shrank. This is the mung bean cake I made myself. Please try it, sister. Bo Saixi took a deep breath. She hadn't seen mung bean cake in many years. When she was a little girl, her favorite was mung bean cake. But since settling on Poseidon Island, she has never eaten it again. How would you do it? At this time, Bo Saixi's face turned from cold to shocked. No one in Poseidon Island had ever come into contact with a pastry maker. How could this little guy do it? Lin Xiao walked to Bo Saixi and said, try it. Bo Saixi was about to refuse, but after seeing Lin Xiao's expectant expression, she had no choice but to pick up the cakes in the box. She didn't understand why Lin Xiao knew what she liked to eat. Not only that, Lin Xiao knew a lot. With the help of System Dad, he knew what Bo Saixi liked to eat, drink, what time he went to bed, etc. Bo Saixi opened her small mouth on the cherry and took a bite. The rich aroma burst out in her mouth. The taste was exactly the same as what she had eaten back then. The original memories replayed in her mind. Lin Xiao felt happy when he saw Bo Saixi, who was obsessed with pastries. It seemed that he had done the right thing. Sure enough, with System Dad here, Tang San, Tang Hao, and the Haoshan sect are all scum. After eating the pastry, Bo Saixi unknowingly shed a crystal-clear teardrop. How did you make it? Facing Bo Saixi's question, Lin Xiao smiled and said, don't worry, I will do it for you every day from now on. Bo Saixi's delicate body trembled, and she looked at Lin Xiao with somewhat confused eyes. Why are you? Before Lin Xiao could wait for Bo Saixi to finish speaking, he waved his hand and turned around to leave. As the saying goes, you have to play hard to get. Sure enough, after Lin Xiao left, Bo Saixi was a little distracted, and disappeared until the next round of the sun and moon rose into the sky. Student Dormitory. After Lin Xiao reached Seoul Emperor, the academy arranged for a separate apartment, which could only be assigned to powerful people above Seoul King. This is also the general treatment for the strong. Lin Xiao waved his right hand, and a white light appeared in front of his eyes. Soon, a man wearing a white robe gathered in front of him. This person is none other than one of Lin Xiao's second martial souls, Li Bai. Under Lin Xiao's understanding, perhaps other kings will be born in the future and become his own martial spirit. In that case, you can obtain a martial spirit that is different from ordinary people. Meet the master. Tell me about your strength. Lin Xiao turned around and sat on the chair, picked up the tea on the table and drank it. It's the master. Li Bai bowed his hands and said, my subordinate is a 58th level fighting soul king. He has a martial soul sword and is as powerful as the powerful soul emperor. Lin Xiao's eyes lit up. Now, he had a soul king under his command. If some people were rewarded in the future, wouldn't he be so successful? In addition, there are many beautiful characters in Glory of Kings, such as Wu Zaishan, Sun Shangxiang, Wang Zhejian, etc. I don't know what the relationship between Li Bai and Wang Zhejian is. Ahem, Li Bai, do you know who your woman is? Li Bai raised his head and shook his head in confusion. I have never had a woman, and I will always be loyal to my master. Oh. Lin Xiao narrowed his eyes. It seems that as long as a character is rewarded, his memory will be erased and he will be left to his own devices. Then this will be easy to handle. There will be plenty of opportunities in the future. Chapter 5, Are you too timid? That's good. You will be my personal guard from now on. As for your name, let's call it Li Bai. I obey my orders. Li Bai knelt on the ground again at this moment and lowered his head deeply. Lin Xiao nodded with satisfaction. With this guardian beast, it would be much easier for him to travel in the future. After taking a look at the time, Lin Xiao stood up, took Li Bai back into his second martial spirit, turned around and flew in the direction of the academy. Of course, he was not studying, but had other things to do. Bo Saixi would go to the academy every morning to reward meritorious deeds with resources, but there was no trace of him at other times. Although it is simple to find her, you cannot let go of even a second. Office of Blue Ocean College. Bo Saixi sat on the chair, picked up the reward list on the table and looked at it. After making sure that no one was cheating, an XIN stamped it and handed it out. At this time, there was a bang dong dong sound coming from outside the door. Bo Saixi put down the list and said, "Come in." When the door was opened, Bo Saixi was slightly stunned. He was speechless when he saw Lin Xiao walking in with a basket. Lin Xiao walked up to Bo Saixi and took out the fruits inside. These are some fruits from the mainland, which are rarely grown on Poseidon Island. After one night of research, he discovered that the system can accumulate points. As long as the points are met, he can ask for some prizes and so on. These fruits are exchanged for points. Bo Saixi looked surprised. "Where did you get these?" "This is a secret, hurry up and try it, I'll clean it up." Bo Saixi unknowingly picked up a pomegranate-like fruit, which is one of the most famous fruits in the mainland. It has the miraculous effect of restoring mental strength, and is extremely precious. It can be said that it has a price but no market. This fruit is called Lingxiang fruit, and it comes from the core area of the Star Forest. This is why the Lingxiang fruit is so expensive. There was a crunching sound, and Bo Saixi took a bite. It tasted pretty good. Why? Bo Saixi raised her head. This time, her eyes were no longer as cold as before, but replaced by a trace of doubt. "Sister, I like you and I want to always protect you." Bo Saixi's delicate body trembled. After looking at Lin Xiao's sincere expression, she took a deep breath and said calmly, "You are a little brat, but you know what love is." Lin Xiao was stunned for a moment and hurriedly found the meaning of love in the system. "I haven't graduated from elementary school yet, so I can't speak such elegant words." Soon, the system had listed a string of meanings of love. Love refers to the feeling of liking to a very deep level and for which people pay. This is love. Love refers to the satisfaction and happiness that humans actively give or consciously expect. Love is the positive energy projected by the human spirit. Love it refers to people actively or consciously cherishing, caring for or satisfying certain human needs that others cannot achieve independently, including ideological consciousness, spiritual experience, behavioral state, material needs, etc. After hearing these words, Bo Saixi was stunned. She felt that she had misjudged the little guy in front of her. This is really an answer that can be said from the mouth of an 18-year-old boy. What Bo Saixi didn't know at this time was that a seed of ignorant youth had sprouted in her heart. Lin Xiao sat on the chair, picked up the fruit in the basket, and ate it. "You gave this to me, why did you eat it yourself?" Bo Saixi waved his right hand, and a blue mist surrounded the table, and he put the fruits in the basket into the soul guide. Lin Xiao smiled slightly and handed over the fruit in his hand. "Sister, there is another one." Bo Saixi's pretty face turned red and she glared at Lin Xiao. She had lived on Poseidon Island for many years and never thought that a little kid would confess her love to her. Moreover, there is actually a little bit of heartbeat. But at this moment, Bo Saixi suddenly raised his head, and Lin Xiao disappeared in front of him. When she saw the little guy who had left at some unknown time, Bo Saixi felt an inexplicable sense of loss in her heart. When the door opened again, Bo Saixi felt happy and hurriedly stood up and looked around. But this time it was Lin Wen, the vice president of Blue Ocean College, who came in. "Master Dean, what are you doing?" Lin Wen asked cautiously. When Bo Saixi saw Lin Wen, he sat on the chair a little disappointed and said coldly, "It's okay, what are you doing here? You didn't send someone to call me, did you forget?" Only then did Bo Saixi remember that it was she who asked Lin Wen to come over and take away the school. With a wave of his right hand, some items appeared in front of Lin Wen. These things are exclusively used by soul masters. Some are armors and some are weapons. Looking at the absent-minded Dean, Lin Wen put away his things without saying anything, knelt down and left the office. Bo Saixi sat on the chair in a daze. At this moment, the sun slowly rose from the east. A ray of sunlight shone in the room, and a reflective spot also attracted her attention. Looking around, there was an emerald jade pendant on the table. Isn't this the one hanging around Lin Xiao's waist? Jade pendant. Bo Saixi picked up the jade pendant on the table and looked at it carefully. It was indeed Lin Xiao's accessory. Bo Saixi stared at the jade pendant for a long time, unable to regain consciousness, and it lasted a whole day. 1 month later. Poseidon Island. Poseidon Temple. Poseidon sat on a chair, stroking his mustache and drinking tea. And standing in front of him was a middle-aged man who was much younger than Poseidon. The man was dressed in blood-red robes and looked as terrifying as a messenger from hell. The whole person is as tall and straight as an evergreen pine in the mountains. Looking from a distance, one can feel the biting chill. Lin Xiao would definitely recognize the man if he saw him. Isn't this the Shura god who threw him into the lower world? That is his grandfather. Shura, what brought you here? Poseidon smiled, raised his right hand, controlled the teacup on the table, and threw it over. The teacup was moving at high speed in mid-air, but not a drop of the tea inside was spilled. This kind of horror could only be done by a god-level expert for such a long time. God Shura snorted coldly, and the teacup in front of him became extremely cold, and then fell to the ground. Poseidon frowned slightly. Shura, what do you mean? What do I mean? What did you tell me when I sent my grandson to the world? Poseidon smiled slightly after hearing this. Shura, come on, let's talk while drinking. As soon as the two clouds of smoke, one red and one blue, disappeared, the entire Poseidon temple returned to its former peace. In the pavilion, two god-level experts were sitting on stone chairs, drinking tea and discussing some things. Tell me, Poseidon, what do you want to do? Poseidon himself poured a cup of tea for God Shura and said with a smile, listen to my explanation. When you sent Xiao'er to me, I had secretly arranged a meeting between the two of them, but you also know. Chapter 6 The Suffering of Shura. Bang! King Shura slapped the table and shouted angrily, you mean, my grandson has low emotional intelligence? If it weren't for the fact that that girl could be promoted to a god-level powerhouse, why do you think I would do this? Poseidon was a little helpless. Although Poseidon had a chance to become a god-level powerhouse, he still needed a chance. If she can let go of the past, Poseidon also hopes that she can inherit his god. Poseidon once wanted to pass it on to Poseidon, the god of the sea, but because Poseidon still had worries in his heart, he failed at the second hurdle. To be favored by the god king, there must be something extraordinary about Bo Saixi. I advise you to hurry up. The speed of cultivation on Poseidon Island is limited. I want Xiao'er to go to the mainland to practice, reach the title Douluo level as soon as possible, and then obtain my inheritance. Poseidon, the god of the sea, smiled slightly. This old guy was really thoughtful and passed down the gods to his grandchildren, so that they would have two god kings of judgment. What a cunning old man! But there is no way. Haha, okay, I'll try to make arrangements as soon as possible. God Shura stood up. He originally wanted to see Lin Xiao, but after thinking about it, he decided to forget it. This kid probably still hated himself. This gave him a little headache. With the breeze blowing, God Shura disappeared from Poseidon Island and returned to the god realm. Poseidon raised his head, these guys come and leave quickly. Haha, it's time to let them develop faster. In the room, Lin Xiao sat cross-legged on the bed, and faint traces of blood-red soul power could be seen flying around him. On the ground, Li Bai is also practicing. This is also the benefit of Lin Xiao's martial soul. He can practice on his own. After reaching a certain level, he can directly obtain the soul ring. With the addition of Li Bai, Lin Xiao's cultivation speed has been greatly accelerated. After a long time, Lin Xiao and Li Bai opened their eyes at the same time, and the surrounding soul power also returned to its original form at this moment. Li Bai, go and arrange some flowers for me. Flowers? Li Bai was stunned. Master, why do you want flowers? You are stupid. Lin Xiao patted Li Bai on the head. Of course I am chasing your mistress, idiot, go quickly. Oh fine. Li Bai stood up, transformed into a shadow and disappeared in place. This was something similar to Li Bai's soul skill, called Xiake Xing. There are 2 stages of displacement in total, and the speed is extremely fast. After the 2 stages of displacement, it will return to its original position. Looking at the shadow left in front of him, Lin Xiao got out of bed, gently opened the window, looked up at the starry sky, feeling a little melancholy in his heart. But think about it, after becoming the protagonist, I feel much better. Master, I'm back. At this time, Li Bai's voice sounded from behind him. Lin Xiao turned his head, looked at Li Bai holding a bouquet of flowers and sighed, Li Bai, these are roses, not chrysanthemums. Well, I'll go then. After struggling all night, Lin Xiao's room was basically filled with flowers, which made him a little confused. Li Bai is stupid, he doesn't even recognize a rose. Fortunately, he brought the roses back at dawn, so he didn't miss the time. After tidying up her clothes and styling her hair, Lin Xiao flew towards Bo Saixi's office. At this time, Bo Saixi was sitting on a chair in the Poseidon temple. Except for titled Douluo, there was no one else around. Lord Poseidon, why are you asking us to come in such a hurry? Poseidon coughed, ahem, today, I'm here to announce something important. Everyone stood up almost instantly and looked at Lord Poseidon. We are going to have a grand wedding on Poseidon Island, so you all should get ready. Everyone looked at each other, wondering what Lord Poseidon meant. Could it be that Lord Poseidon is looking for a wife? But think about it, it may be possible. Although Poseidon is not young, he still has needs. He may not be able to bear it anymore and wants to marry the old lady. Bo Saixi thought the same way at the moment. Of course, she was not the only one, everyone else thought the same way. Lord Poseidon, let's be ready on a certain day. The time is set in 3 days. During these 3 days, you can decorate Poseidon Island and Poseidon Temple. This wedding will be held at Poseidon Temple. We will obey your orders. After seeing Master Poseidon leave, everyone looked at each other, and then laughed. Mr. Poseidon is really interesting. Getting married has to be so grand. As the second person on Poseidon Island, Bo Saixi has the responsibility to control the mission assigned to them by Poseidon. Okay, everyone, let's get ready, Kaiba. Go and notify the nearby villages and ask them to make more long red cloths, wedding lanterns, etc. Then we will notify all the soul masters in the nearby sea area to participate in the wedding ceremony of Poseidon Island. Seahorse Douluo asked in confusion, High Priest, they are just ordinary soul masters, you. His meaning was very clear. A bunch of ants wanted to see Lord Poseidon, so they were going too far. Bo Saixi said, when did I tell them to attend in the main hall? No one is allowed to enter the Poseidon Hall except titled Douluo. Anyone who disobeys will be killed. Yes. After the assignments were made, everyone left the Poseidon Hall one after another. Bo Saixi also took a look at the time and hurriedly flew towards the academy. But when he arrived at the office, it was empty, which made Bo Saixi a little disappointed. But after seeing the flowers and a letter on the table, my heart was shaken and I walked over without realizing it. Picked up the rose on the table and smelled it gently, it smells so good. Opened the letter again. Sister, you were not here when I came. You must be busy with something. This is the flower gift I gave you. I will wait for you in the peach blossom forest for an hour. If sister doesn't come, I will leave. After seeing the 3 words leave, Bo Saixi's expression changed. He hurriedly put away the envelope and flew towards the peach blossom forest. Unconsciously, she felt a little nervous, a feeling of reluctance. Almost in an instant, Bo Saixi had arrived at the peach blossom forest. As a 99th level peerless Douluo, his speed had already reached its peak. At this time, Lin Xiao was walking out. With the help of the system, he could clearly calculate Bo Saixi's location. Just when she wanted to come, he chose to leave. Only then could Bo Saixi remember him deeply. Lin Xiao. Bo Saixi appeared behind him and shouted miserably. Lin Xiao stopped and turned around quickly, Sister. You are crazy. Bo Saixi appeared in front of Lin Xiao, grabbed his ear and cursed. You actually threatened to leave me. Believe it or not, I will rip off your ears and drink them. You must be cowardly. Chapter 7 Turns out I'm so handsome. Hey, it hurts sister, I was wrong, let go quickly, it's about to fall off. Bo Saixi was furious, but still let go of Lin Xiao's ears. Lin Xiao hurriedly rubbed his ears. This woman must have been too cruel. Why don't you leave? You can leave now. Lin Xiao chuckled and said, What are you talking about? How can I leave my sister? My sister is the best. Bo Saixi narrowed his eyes, Since I'm the best, why do you want to leave? Lin Xiao coughed and his old face turned red. He couldn't say that he had to indulge in lust. I'm afraid Bo Saixi's ears would be ripped off if he told me. Lin Xiao lowered his head deeply. This scene made Bo Saixi pause. Especially after seeing Lin Xiao's sad eyes, his heart felt like a big hand was pinching him, and the pain was unbearable. Bo Saixi slowly raised his right hand, but it stopped in midair and could not fall down. Over the past month, she had developed an inexplicable and wonderful feeling for this little guy. Every day, Lin Xiao would prepare her favorite food. This is what moved her. When Lin Xiao was by her side, she felt an indescribable feeling in her heart, a little comfortable, a little satisfied, and a little safe. Sister. Ah. Bo Saixi responded hurriedly, what's wrong? I want to leave Poseidon Island. These words exploded in Bo Saixi's mind like a bolt from the blue. Bo Saixi couldn't help but take a few steps back. His eyes turned red unconsciously, which was extremely distressing. I need to practice in the mainland. I know that there is a big gap between my strength and my sister, so I want to grow up and become a protector of my sister. That person. The NPC in the system has all kinds of words and phrases, and it is impossible not to be impressed. Sure enough, Bo Saixi's delicate body trembled and tears welled up in her eyes. In order not to let Lin Xiao see it, she turned around. After a long while, Bo Saixi whispered, what, when? Lin Xiao frowned, why don't you want to stay? 3 days later. Okay, I'll see you off. After Bo Saixi left these words, he disappeared. Lin Xiao was stunned. This was a little different from the plot. Why did the TV series say that the heroine threw herself directly into the hero's arms? Why couldn't he? Which part did you do wrong? Li Bai, am I wrong? I don't know. What else do you know? This subordinate doesn't know anything. Lin Xiao, get out. After Bo Saixi returned to the boudoir, she sat on the sofa behind closed doors, holding Lin Xiao's jade pendant tightly in her hand. I will never forget his words in my mind. Bo Saixi kept staring at the jade pendant for a long time and couldn't leave. He didn't know how long it had been before he was woken up by a knock on the door. Poseidon Hall. Poseidon shook the teacup in his hand and looked at the middle-aged man beside him with a smile. Shura, I have arranged for people to prepare the things you told me. What do you think? King Shura didn't keep a straight face and said with a smile, haha, after so many years, Poseidon, this is the best thing you have done. This is my grandson's wedding. I can't come in person. You are here and take good care of me. Poseidon looked at Shura with some doubts. Doesn't it make sense for his own grandson to get married? Shura, what do you mean? Alas. Shura sighed, there is nothing I can do. Xiao'er will definitely remember the time when I threw him into the lower world. I, Shura, have been fighting for many years. I have never been afraid of anyone, except my grandson. He ignored me. I must have trouble sleeping and eating. Poseidon looked surprised. The powerful king of gods was actually afraid of his grandson. If you tell me, no one will believe it. King Shura drank the water in the glass in one gulp and stood up, I'll leave it to you. I can just watch from a distance. With that said, King Shura transformed into a ball of red mist and disappeared into the Poseidon Hall. Poseidon narrowed his eyes for a long time, here comes someone. Upon hearing this, Seahorse Douluo walked in from outside the main hall and half knelt on the ground. Greetings to Lord Poseidon. Yes. Poseidon nodded, Heba, go and tell Poseidon to tell her to get ready, put on a wedding dress, and get married in 3 days. Ah. Seahorse Douluo raised his head and looked at Lord Poseidon with some confusion. Didn't you say that Lord Poseidon is getting married? Why did he become a high priest? Lord Poseidon, are you mistaken? Who is the groom in the high priest's wedding? You have no right to know this. Go down and tell Bo Saixi that he must agree. Seahorse Douluo nodded helplessly, turned around and flew in the direction of Bo Saixi. In the room. Bo Saixi sat on the ground and looked at the jade pendant in his hand, unable to regain consciousness for a long time. At this time, Seahorse Douluo had already come to her side. Seeing the high priest who was concentrating on her, he did not dare to disturb her. After a while, Bo Saixi said coldly, what's the matter? Go back to the high priest, Lord Poseidon ordered me to tell you that in 3 days, it will be your wedding. What? Bo Saixi stood up suddenly, not believing his ears. She said something about how she wanted to get married. Lord Poseidon also said that you must agree. Bo Saixi took a deep breath and sat down heavily on the chair, unable to calm down for a long time. The boy in the white robe appeared crazily in his mind. Seahorse Douluo knelt on the ground, his clothes wet with sweat. She still saw Bo Saixi like this after all these years. Bo Saixi closed his eyes. I understand, tell Lord Poseidon, I agree. Seahorse Douluo hurriedly left the room, leaving only Bo Saixi alone. At Blue Ocean College, Lin Xiao was listening to the teacher's lecture in the class. From time to time, the surrounding students expressed envious looks. It turns out that a mediocre waist is actually so strong. He has reached the level of Soul Emperor at a young age. In the future, he will definitely become a top powerhouse like titled Douluo. If you are favored by Lord Poseidon and inherit the deity, then wouldn't it be like flying on a branch and becoming a phoenix? Garni also looked at him with gratitude. It was Lin Xiao who had regained the face of the class and his dignity. That's it for today, class is over. After the instructor left, everyone gathered around. Thank you, Lin Xiao. Garni walked to Lin Xiao and said gratefully. You're welcome. We are all classmates. The class is being humiliated. How could I not take action? The other students hurriedly took out their precious things and put them on the table. Boss, from now on you will be the boss of our class 3 and 8 classes. These are the things we honor you. If you have any questions, please ask them directly and we will try our best to satisfy you. Lin Xiao was stunned for a moment, and was shocked when he looked at the pots and pans on the table. There was no use keeping these for himself. No, you all can take it back. Since you are so loved, I, Lin Xiao, will be the boss of Class 8, Grade 3 from now on. Everyone looked at each other, bowed their hands and said, meet the new boss. Lin Xiao smiled, stood up, and walked out of the classroom. Looking at the vitality of Poseidon Island, he had the idea of returning to the mainland. Chapter 8 I Let Go Got Off. High Priest, the wedding is about to begin, and Poseidon asks you to go. Bo Saixi put away the jade pendant in a daze. I understand. In another place, Lin Xiao was taken to a room by a titled Douluo. Lord Poseidon told Lin Xiao to put on wedding clothes, which made him a little confused. It shouldn't be Lord Poseidon's wedding, so why did it become Lin Xiao's? But he didn't dare to disobey Lord Poseidon's order, so he had to take Lin Xiao to change clothes. Lin Xiao was also confused. How could such a good person be married? Bo Saixi hasn't been captured yet. After changing clothes, the maid's voice sounded from outside the door. Uncle, it's almost time, it's time to greet you. Let me ask, who is the bride? The maid shook her head, I don't know. Lin Xiao touched his nose and wondered who he was marrying. Forget about the good-looking girl. What if he didn't look good? With doubts, Lin Xiao walked out of the room wearing the groom's clothes. Uncle, please come with me. Led by the maid, Lin Xiao arrived outside a room. After looking at the room, Lin Xiao was shocked. Isn't this Bo Saixi's room? As the sun slowly rose, Bo Saixi, wearing a red wedding dress, walked out of the boudoir with a disappointed look on her face. Bo Saixi's eyes were red. It was obvious that he had not slept well in the past few days, and there were still traces of tears. She didn't know why Master Poseidon did this. Could it be that he was interested in her? As the most loyal subordinate of Poseidon, the god of the sea, she has always respected him. Only this time, there was a trace of melancholy between her eyebrows. Linear. Xiao. Bo Saixi's face was pale, and her peach-like face was reflected in her red wedding dress, and her eyes were shining with brilliance. She has red lips and white teeth, and her movements reveal a charming charm. Her fair skin is as bright as the moonlight, her slender waist is like a tight silk belt, and her fingers are like the tips of fresh onions. The phoenix crown on her head and the pearls on her body shone in the candlelight, like bright stars in the sky. 3,000 black hairs are draped over her shoulders like brocade, and a pair of willow eyebrows are curved like crescent moons, but they are dyed at the tips of the eyebrows. A pair of beautiful eyes that are so dark that they are bottomless, and the corners of the eyes are slightly raised upward. When she smiles, she is as charming as the night. The shadow cast by the eyelashes under the eyelids adds an indescribable and mysterious color to the entire face. The bridge of the nose is straight and delicate, dividing the beautiful face into two sides, making the face particularly full of lines. A small cherry mouth is red in color, like a silent temptation. The beautiful facial features are led by the perfect facial lines to the pointed jaw. Fair skin is almost transparent. Welcoming the bride. With a shout, the sound of crackling firecrackers came from outside the door, and the sky became particularly romantic against the backdrop of fireworks. At this moment, Bo Saixi also saw Lin Xiao wearing a groom's uniform. The two looked at each other and were stunned at the same time. Damn it, I actually married my sister. Bo Saixi couldn't help but asked, what does this mean? Before Bo Saixi could finish speaking, a ray of gold enveloped the two of them in the sky, and almost in an instant, they arrived at the Poseidon Hall. Poseidon, the god of the sea, looked at the two people in front of him with a smile. Lord Poseidon, what do you mean? Bo Saixi asked hurriedly. Hey! Poseidon said, Zioxi, I asked you to prepare 3 days ago just for you. Lin Xiao is your husband. At this moment, Lin Xiao really wanted to give him a thumbs up. This old man knew how to do things, and he could accomplish something in his career at a glance. Before Bo Saixi could say anything, Poseidon shouted, the wedding begins. The master of ceremonies shouted, the newlyweds worship heaven and earth. Ah! Lin Xiao and Bo Saixi knelt on the ground almost instantly, as if there was something pressing down on them. Bow down to heaven and earth. Lin Xiao and Bo Saixi looked at the flowing blue sky outside the hall at the same time, their snow-white foreheads gently pressed against the smooth ground. Thanks to Jiaotang. The two of them turned towards Poseidon, the god of the sea, and bowed to him gently again. At the same time, in mid-air, a man whom no one could see quietly looked at the two people in the hall. After seeing this, the man nodded with satisfaction and looked into the distance. This time, his expression became a little hurt. You saw it. When it was time for the couple to bow, Lin Xiao and Bo Saixi faced each other, gently lifted their clothes, bent down and kowtowed. Seeing them like this, the dense crowd of guests roared with applause, and they couldn't help but shout OK character. Poseidon picked up the wine glass and threw it towards Poseidon. Bo Saixi caught it, looked at Lord Poseidon, and drank it in one gulp. Send it to the bridal chamber. Bo Saixi was wearing a red wedding dress and was taken away by a female guard, leaving only everyone on the field. You got married out of nowhere. Lin Xiao felt that this was a dream, a bit too real. Poseidon smiled and said, little guy, from today on, you are my uncle from Poseidon Island. Whoever dares to bully you in the future will come to Poseidon Island to find your wife. Not to mention this, Lin Xiao knew that the wife of a 99th level peerless Douluo and the grandfather of a god level expert were both walking around in the mainland. Thank you, senior. Well, Xiaoer, you must treat Zioxi well in the future. She is a child who has suffered a lot. I won't say anything more about her past. Lin Xiao's expression was serious. Senior Poseidon, as long as I, Lin Xiao, are here, I will not betray her, even if it means my life. Okay, let's go to the bridal chamber. I hope you can remember what I said today, otherwise, I won't be able to spare you. After Poseidon finished speaking, he mysteriously disappeared. Lin Xiao, led by the maid, came to Bo Saixi's boudoir. Push open the door. Lin Xiao walked in smelling of alcohol. He had drunk a lot today, but Lin Xiao found that no matter how many people there were, they were all absorbed by Li Bai, as if he had not drank. How strange! Could it be that Li Bai mainly drinks alcohol? I don't think about it anymore, the bridal chamber is the most important thing now. Lin Xiao strode up to Bo Saixi and gently took off the red cloth covering Bo Saixi's head. When he saw the beautiful woman with skin as white as snow, Lin Xiao was also shocked. Bo Saixi's face was slightly red, like a shy little girl. Her little hands were fighting together from time to time, and she didn't dare to raise her head to look at Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao touched his face. He didn't know what he looked like when he came here. Walking to the bronze mirror, Lin Xiao squinted his eyes. Wearing a red wedding dress, he looked like an immortal descending from the 9 heavens. His appearance was very beautiful, as if he had stepped out of a painting. He had jet black hair. Her long hair was scattered, slowly fluttering as the breeze blew outside the door. Damn it, no wonder Bo Saixi fell in love with him, he is really handsome. Lin Xiao gently stroked his cheek. He was worthy of being the person who captured Bo Saixi's heart. If you look at yourself for a long time, you will fall in love with yourself. Chapter 9, Leaving Poseidon Island. Linear. Xiao. Bo Saixi lowered his head and muttered softly. Lin Xiao turned around, Hey? I'm here, sister. We really got married. Sister will be my woman from now on. Lin Xiao turned around and sat next to Bo Saixi. He gently held Bo Saixi's shoulder with his right hand. Seeing that she didn't struggle, Lin Xiao was ready for the next step. But at this moment, there was a trace of flushing on Bo Saixi's face, which surprised Lin Xiao. Bo Saixi should not have such a personality. Is it because I am too handsome? Fortunately, the system dad is here to check it. Ding, testing is in progress, please wait. Ding, detect the presence of a trace of drug in Bo Saixi's body, commonly known as Chun, self-replenishing brain. Lin Xiao was almost scared to death. When he thought of the glass of wine that Poseidon threw to Bo Saixi, he knew that this old guy, Poseidon, actually drugged him. This crooked man must have known that it would be difficult for him to win over Bo Saixi, so he chose to do such a dirty thing. Lin Xiao, I'm so hot. Bo Saixi's face turned redder and redder, and his body twisted unconsciously. Lin Xiao swallowed a mouthful of saliva, and the mockingly red Bo Saixi looked even more charming, making people want to explore it. Before he could react, Bo Saixi hugged Lin Xiao's body and kissed her with red lips. Holy crap, my first kiss was just gone. Lin Xiao blinked and looked at Bo Saixi, who kept asking for help. He felt a little confused in his heart. Without thinking about anything else, Lin Xiao gently stroked Bo Saixi's delicate cheek and slowly lay on the bed. Didn't sleep all night. The next day, Lin Xiao opened his eyes and looked at Bo Saixi in his arms, and knew that this was not a dream, it was very real. The madness last night was unforgettable for the rest of my life. Although he was a bit brave and didn't fall asleep until dawn, Bo Saixi felt that he was even more violent than himself. This night, I almost died of exhaustion. Otherwise, as the saying goes, it would be cool to die under peonies and be a ghost. He has not completed the task assigned to him by his male compatriots, how could he die so easily, doghead? Ding, congratulations to the host for successfully obtaining a drop of blood. Reward the foot-washing puppet Wang Zhejian. Without warning, a woman wearing a blue robe slowly fell from the air. Wang Zhejian is about 18 years old. She is handsome and deserves to be one of the 4 beauties. The slave family pays homage to the master. Just as Lin Xiao was about to say something, when he saw Bo Saixi beside him, he hurriedly took Wang Zhejian back into his martial spirit. If my sister finds out, I will die in an ugly way. Sure enough, at this moment, Bo Saixi opened her eyes. When she saw Lin Xiao with his back turned to her, she was stunned and glanced at her body. She suddenly remembered what happened last night. Her little face suddenly turned red with embarrassment. Lin Xiao turned his head, and when he saw Bo Saixi looking at him, he smiled and said, "Sister, you're awake." Bo Saixi nodded slightly, picked up the clothes beside him and started to put them on. Lin Xiao pressed Bo Saixi's hands. "What do you want to do?" Bo Saixi asked hurriedly. "Sister, it's only early morning, we are." "Hey? No. Noon." The two walked out of the room. Bo Saixi's face was rosy, and he glared at Lin Xiao from time to time. Lin Xiao scratched his head, "Isn't the life between husband and wife wrong? Boy, you can't force me without my permission in the future." After saying this, Bo Saixi blushed even more and pinched Lin Xiao's arm. Lin Xiao grimaced in pain. "I know, sister, yesterday, you were quite…" Lin Xiao quickly closed his mouth, turned his head and started to whistle. "Humph." Bo Saixi's face lit up and he thought to himself, "Let's see if you dare to bully me in the future." The two of them walked and came to the peach blossom forest on the back hill of Poseidon Island. Walking to the pavilion, Bo Saixi turned to look at the few small fish in the lake. The 2 largest fish moved back strangely, and he saw a small fish. The fish poked its head out from under the body and ate the fish food thrown by Bo Saixi. Seeing this scene, Bo Saixi was stunned for a moment, as if he thought of something, and smiled bitterly. Perhaps the fish in the water symbolize them. Lin Xiao stood up, walked behind Bo Saixi, and hugged her delicate body tightly. Bo Saixi was shocked, but she didn't say anything. Since she was married to Lin Xiao, she had to consider everything about him. "Sister, I know what you are thinking. Don't worry, I won't let you feel this way again." Bo Saixi took a deep breath and said, "Don't worry, since I'm marrying you, I won't be thinking about other things. Let her let go of the past." Lin Xiao looked at Bo Saixi's profile. Did she really understand? After a pause, Bo Saixi said with a smile, I have put down what should be put down. Don't bring it up again. Now that I have married you, I don't want to think about the original thing anymore. Lin Xiao felt a little moved and hugged Bo Saixi's body tightly. Bo Saixi turned his head, and the two looked at each other, wiping the spark of love once again. At night, Lin Xiao held the naked Bo Saixi in his arms and looked up at the sun, moon, and stars, feeling an inexplicable concern in his heart. Sister, I want to go back to the mainland. Bo Saixi snuggled into Lin Xiao's arms, nodded and said, Go. Although you are extremely reluctant to leave, I know your heart is not here. When you want to come back, just come back. I'll be waiting here. Holding you. Lin Xiao asked hurriedly, Sister, you can go back to the mainland with me. There are many things there. But Bo Saixi shook his head, No, as the High Priest of Poseidon Island, I cannot leave Poseidon Island without permission. I have to think about the people of Poseidon Island. She is right, Poseidon, the god of the sea, will not care about anything on Poseidon Island, only she can. Bo Saixi can be said to be the second person on Poseidon Island and the titled Douluo who is in charge of everything. Without her, the entire Poseidon Island would fall into chaos. Gods do not interfere with mortal affairs. Even Poseidon has no right to interfere. Therefore, Bo Saixi must stay on Poseidon Island, unless one day another high priest appears on Poseidon Island, and then he can be freed. In the dark, an iron chain held Bo Saixi tightly. Lin Xiao took a deep breath, Okay, sister, don't worry, I will take you back one day. Bo Saixi nodded with satisfaction. In her heart, she gradually accepted this teenage boy. Time passed by minute, and soon it was the next morning. Outside Poseidon Island, a ship had been waiting for a long time. Lin Xiao put on his clothes, kissed Bo Saixi gently on the forehead, and quietly left the peach blossom forest without disturbing her. After he left, Bo Saixi opened his eyes. Chapter 10 Shura Bloodline Cow Batch. We're finally here. Life at sea is really uncomfortable. Lin Xiao sat aside, looking at the scenery on the sea and admiring the fish in the water. At this moment, a harsh roar sounded beside the bed, and rays of fiery red light were released from the ship not far away. Lin Xiao stood up, looked at the fireball in mid-air, and frowned, It's the one who dares to attack me without his own life. Oh no, Master Soul Master, he is a pirate, he is a pirate. Pirates! Lin Xiao was stunned. This is not the sea area of the Star Luo Empire. Why are there pirates? When the surrounding fishing boats saw this, they hurriedly ran around for fear of being caught. The captain, the old man, slumped on the ground. He had encountered pirates before, so he just needed some money. I didn't expect that I would release my soul skills right now. Stop the ships on the opposite side immediately, otherwise, we will definitely sink you into the deep sea. The old man looked at Lin Xiao beside him, and now he could only listen to the Soul Master's opinion. He only has the strength of Soul Lord, and he is just a younger brother to Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao touched his chin and looked at the approaching pirate ship. Stop. After a few attacks, I'm afraid the ship will sink. The old man nodded in agreement, ran aside, and threw the anchor into the ocean. Yo-ha! Yeah, they're scared, ha ha ha! Brothers, go ahead! Steal all their money and rape their women, ha ha ha! A burly man held a machete and shouted at the ships in the distance. Lin Xiao became interested when he saw the pirates approaching. He wanted to see what these beasts wanted to do. Soon, the pirate agility attack spirit master landed on the deck and controlled the captain in the first time. Several big characters were written on the pirate ship, named Red Sand Pirates Group. At the same time, people from the ship rushed in one after another, wielding machetes and waving them. Boss, we have them all under control, damn, there are only 2 of us. The bald man's expression changed drastically, he grabbed the captain's neck and roared, What are you doing? Why are there only 2 of you? Sir, the younger one is, for transportation. I don't know anything else. The bald man slapped the old man to the ground and turned to look at the others. What a bad luck! You guys, go search the room to see if there is anything valuable. Take them all. It's the boss. Lin Xiao looked around and saw that 3 of these pirates had the strength of a soul emperor, and their leader was a soul saint. Looking at the breath, he should be a level 72 soul saint. If a fight breaks out, I'm not sure whether the ship can be destroyed. Li Bai, are you sure you can kill him? Master, I am 50% sure. Then pull it down and leave it to me. 50% better than doing it yourself. Doing it yourself is an instant kill. Lin Xiao took a big step forward, and suddenly, a terrifying black murderous aura was faintly exuding from his body. All the eyes on the boat were attracted. Hey! The Soul Saint also frowned slightly. Who are you? Lin Xiao's eyes were blood red, coming down like a god of death. When everyone saw this scene, they stepped back a few meters away, with a hint of horror in their eyes. This aura made them feel as if they had fallen into an ice cave, as cold as bone to the bone. It seems that he will be swallowed up by this murderous aura in the next second, and will eventually die without a burial place. Lin Xiao shrugged and asked, "You pirates shouldn't be on the high seas. Why did you suddenly appear in the waters of the Douluo Empire?" The bald man didn't know what was going on, but he actually replied, "Because I gave them money." Lin Xiao waved his right hand, and a blood-red sword suddenly appeared in the palm of his right hand. The terrifying murderous aura made the surrounding air freeze, especially the smell of blood that hit the face when buying stocks, which made people even more frightened. "Who are you?" The bald man's expression changed drastically and he shouted hurriedly. "The person who will kill you." Along with a ray of light and shadow, Lin Xiao appeared behind the bald man at some point. When everyone was stunned, the bald man's blood spattered. The surrounding buildings were stained blood-red with blood. Ah! The three soul emperors were so frightened that their legs went weak, and a sense of fear arose spontaneously. "Withdraw, withdraw, withdraw!" I don't know who shouted, and everyone in the pirate group almost ran wildly. At that speed, they wished they could grow 2 legs. Lin Xiao looked at the pirates fleeing in all directions, the corners of his mouth raised slightly, and the Shura divine sword in his right hand was raised high. At this moment, the sky suddenly changed from blue to blood red, and the entire sea area seemed to have turned into blood-colored sea water without being disturbed by the sky. At the same time, a red beam of light was suddenly released from Lin Xiao. The terrifying pressure suppressed everyone on the ship almost instantly. This is the first time he has used Shura divine sword and soul in this world. Generally speaking, Lin Xiao has Li Bai to help him, and he rarely takes action. The strongest among these people is the Soul Emperor level, but Li Bai can be said to be almost invincible in front of them. Lin Xiao was different. He wanted to test how terrifying his strength was. After all, he was also the grandson of God King Shura. The third soul skill, Bloody Sky. What? The third, 100,000-year soul ring. At this time, the 3 soul emperors were all frightened and their eyes were full of fear. They had never felt this way before, but when they saw Lin Xiao's 100,000-year-old soul ring, they knew that it was over, completely over. Red beams of light shone on the pirates' bodies. Suddenly, all the pirates' bodies froze as if they were dead corpses. Their eyes were lifeless, and their souls had been drained. Slowly, their body functions declined rapidly. Soon, their bodies turned into mummies, and finally turned into a ball of fly ash and disappeared into the ocean. The captain took a breath, his eyes full of fear. This child really came out of Poseidon Island. After solving the trouble, Lin Xiao took back the Soul Shura divine sword, and the sky and ocean returned to their former appearance. Lin Xiao touched his chin. This body was really strong. He could have a soul ring without hunting soul beasts, and there was no possibility of backlash. It is worthy of being the bloodline of the so-called 3 law enforcers, the Shura god. As expected, it lives up to its reputation and is incredibly powerful. Okay, everything has been resolved, let's go now. The captain had not yet woken up from the shock. After seeing Lin Xiao's look again, he suddenly woke up. Don't tell anyone what happened today, otherwise you will end up exactly like them, do you understand? A cold voice sounded in the captain's ears, and the captain nodded hurriedly. He did not dare to offend this murderous god. You've reached the end of part 1. Want to know what happens next? Part 2 and the rest of the story are available on Patreon. Go to Patreon and search for my page to continue listening. Join Patreon and continue the story from part 2. Thank you for listening and supporting the channel.